And just like that, it's time for our weekly roundup of all the things Lady just ain't gonna do this week. Number 1, Ron DeSantis gets the It Puts the Lotion in the Basket award for the Don't Say Gay bill. I mean, what a fucking clown. Now, have y'all ever watched The Silence of the Lambs? I mean, first of all, it's one of the greatest movies ever made in the sense that everybody who sees it knows exactly what I mean when I say it puts the lotion in the basket. And that's exactly what this creepy-ass party that is formerly known as the Republicans is all about. Now, from the anti-protest bill that allows for people to run over protesters who block streets or freeways, to the woke bill that prevents anyone from making white people feel uncomfortable, and now we're rounding the corner on the Don't Say Gay bill, which basically would ban certain conversations about sexual orientation or gender identity. Seriously, people, what in the fuck is wrong with these folks? Now, besides the creepiness attached with this obsession with people's genitalia and who they use it with, there's also a creepiness in the ways in which the Republican strategy, I don't even know. I mean, it almost completely revolves around silencing anybody who is not white, male-identified, heterosexual, and cisgendered, and Christian. Why do they do it? Well, you'll remember that in the movie, the serial killer took skin from his victims because he was trying to make a new skin for himself to be the woman he always wanted to be. Well, Republicans are doing it to fight back against a changing demographic and the potential of changing political power. If you change how politics happens in this country, Republicans would lose power and never get it back again. So, that's why we see these attacks happening in these ways. They deeply understand how policy and culture are intertwined. They attempt to legislate their ideology about who belongs and who doesn't belong because a part of their power is being able to tell the story of who we are and consequentially who we're not. So yes, this week's creepy-ass It Puts the Lotion in the Basket award goes to Governor Ron DeSantis, who is seemingly obsessed with paramilitary police forces that only he controls. He's also obsessed with sanctioning vigilante violence. And now, with his most recent attacks, keeping people from even talking about sexual orientation and gender identity. It's not like there aren't huge problems in his state that his constituents actually need him to take on. You know, those small things like climate change, housing affordability, COVID-19 relief and recovery, public education. But no, we are going to focus on stopping people from even discussing diversity. And perhaps along the way, we'll accelerate suicides and bullying. Because if we're not talking about our differences, we're certainly not talking about what we socialize people to do with people who are deemed to not belong. The irony, too, of this award for this creep of a governor is this. In the movie, the serial killer was killing women for their skins because he was deemed unfit for a sex change operation. Anywho, more on that another time. Other things Lady just ain't gonna do this week, well, it's white folks beefing again. Now, Mitch McConnell breaks ranks for a hot second, calling out the RNC and seemingly just coming to the conclusion that we took a DNA test and it was determined that Donald Trump is a lie. So, in an all too rare demonstration of what it means to actually have a backbone, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell publicly criticized the Republican National Committee this week for their actions that censured House Republicans Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger for their participation in the House committee on January 6th, otherwise known as the day the people tried to recreate the goddamn Boston Tea Party and take over the damn government. Now, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, censure is like a public condemnation of a lawmaker by their party, and it can, among other things, impact whether or not the party supports a member financially. Senator McConnell, lovingly known as good old too little too late, admonished the RNC for the censure, saying that we all saw what happened, that January 6th was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent a peaceful transfer of power after legitimately certified election from one administration to the next. Those are his exact words. Now, that's different than how the RNC framed it, which was as legitimate political discourse. Even though he puffed out his chest, though, he didn't go too far down the road. I mean, he still supports the chairwoman of the RNC. But shots were definitely fired at the Orange Menace, and Mitch McConnell certainly did perform a DNA test and determine that Donald J. Trump is in fact a lie, and perhaps even the legitimate father of the January 6th insurrection. Now, what you think about that? I crack myself up. Okay, so here's what we want more of this week, though. Now, look, we haven't really done this before, but Lady has been ranting a lot lately about love and relationships and all that. So bear with me for just 1 minute as I offer you Lady's Love Notes. In anticipation of that one holiday that's coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, y'all, I have been very vocal about the struggle that is dating. If there was one theme that I'd want to highlight this week, it would be the struggle between commitment and autonomy. And I do just have to point out and put this out there, because as someone who was in a beautiful, loving relationship for the better part of 17 years, I struggle to understand some of the patterns that I'm seeing in humans seeking intimate connections. I'm not even really out here like that for a bunch of reasons. Let me just start off by saying that. First, I'm literally just getting used to and learning about myself not in a relationship. I have been in a relationship nearly half my life, and it has been a real process of discovery to wake up alone, to spend days and nights in my house alone, to take myself on walks and dates alone, to run on my own schedule and say yes when I want to and no when I want to. I'm also not out here like that because it's been really hard to find someone who either isn't on another planet completely or who is not trying to lock me down, but who also isn't playing games. So 2 things are on my mind for this week's Love Notes. 1, why do people act confused about the results they're getting from their own behavior? One thing a good relationship will do, it'll build your emotional intelligence. You think about what you bring to the table, and you know that relationships are about the inputs of more than one person. So why y'all be out here like, oh no, fam, she's sweating me, but I'm just trying to do my thing and I have no idea why she mad all the time. I'm just doing me and I'm busy. Y'all know you fucking lying. And I don't even know why this is even a question. Why is she mad all the time? Because 1 minute you saying one thing and another minute you doing something different than what you said. You're inconsistent. That's why she mad. Now, with few exceptions, and I need y'all to hear this, people don't pop off out the blue. Quite often, a person who was wiling out was pushed to their limit. Now, you gonna tell the whole story or only half, and your half no less. So that's been on my mind, child. Now, relatedly, the second thing on my mind for this week's Love Notes from Lady is this. We are not really that complicated. There are some basic tips for getting the time and attention of people who are busy and run shit, but choose to share some of their time with you. And here are those tips. Number 1, we are not all trying to get married. Having been a married person for a very long time, I'm cool off it for a while. But that doesn't mean I'm not interested in building something real with someone. Like, it doesn't mean never, but it means I'm not really thinking about that right now. Lady is experiencing some dysmorphia because what's real is that even though I am so upfront about this, either niggas don't get it, they don't believe me, or they coming in with their own agenda and they're actually not really concerned about what I want. Now, here's what I do want. Someone to have fun with. Someone who works hard and who plays hard. Someone who makes the time to get to know me, and someone who's not trying to lock it down right this minute, but also who's not playing games. I don't believe in the 3-day rule or whatever the fuck that is. When you want to talk to someone, reach out. When you're thinking about them, let them know. Tell people how you feel about them in real time. Let a person know where they stand with you. Look a person in the eye and say, I like you and I'm glad we're kicking it. And it's cool to leave it right there. Don't do too much, but don't do too little either. Jesus. Other tips. Do what you say you're going to do. Communicate when you can't. Period. Tip number 3. Please, for the love of everything holy, don't gaslight us. I swear before the Lord, why do y'all do this? Look, I went out with a dude once. He was cute. We had a nice time. Our first date, we hung out for a long time. We made each other laugh. He wanted to talk on the phone every day, but he never asked me out again. I asked him about it. He stuttered through some answer about how he was going to, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, definitely I want to. It was like, yeah, we'll see each other. So that was the first clue. Now, when we finally did make plans, it started out as dinner, and then he rescheduled and made it lunch. That's a downgrade, no? I saw him out in the world that week, and he was chill, but he really wasn't giving me those I like you vibes. So I canceled the lunch and said, let's just call it because I think you're just not that into me. Now, when I saw him again, he asked me, well, what happened? Why do you think I'm not that into you? Nigga. Now note, he did not say, you're incorrect. I am into you, and I was just trying to figure out how to make it work. What he said was, why do you think that? Why do I think that? No, nigga, why am I having to ask you for your time when I've offered you mine? This is gaslighting. Dude, you gave no vibe whatsoever that you wanted to be anything but friends and friendly. There was no real flirting, no indication of a second date until I asked about it, and no energy from you. And frankly, you should have said, there's no vibe here, but let's just be friends. But instead, I had to say it to you. You literally planned to string me along when you knew good and damn well you didn't think we were a match. But you did want to take my time talking about yourself on my phone. I don't even like to talk to people on the phone like that, my G. Anywho, gaslighting seems to be a pattern in these dating streets. Look, there was another person I was talking to for the hottest second, and it wasn't even really talking, if you know what I'm saying. I said from jump, I have zero capacity to date and really no interest in it. My heart is somewhere else, and there's not any access for you. But if you want to hang out and have fun, I'm here for that. When I tell you they swore up, down, and all around, honey, that was exactly what they wanted to. And then the next thing you know, they're acting like we finna buy a couch together. What the fuck? Where they do that at? When I tell you this person ran around town telling people they were dating me, when I was not claiming them, nor was I dating them, and then got all mad and victim-like when I checked them on it, acting brand ass new. Really, fam, what are we doing? Y'all got me fucked up. But all jokes aside, y'all, the dating thing, it's a lot. I know people don't come ready-made. I know we all have our shit, and I definitely have mine. You would think that a human like me, who's not trying to lock it down and not demanding to be locked down, would be a catch, no? Well, the dating streets seem to believe otherwise. Lady almost wishes that Valentine's Day came with some figure like Santa Claus that you could write letters to and request shit from. You know, you'd be like, Dear Santa, I've been good this year. Well, my request would be this. Dear Saint Valentine, please eliminate the drama from dating. Allow us to meet people who are intriguing and intrigued by us, who can be honest with me and themselves about what they want and what they finna do about it, and who can stop assuming that our highest aspirations are to be married with children. My highest aspiration, honestly and truly, is to meet another human that I can unwind with, another human that I feel safe with and can stand still with. And we can just take it from there.